Can you hear me? Geppetto's puppet. We need your help.
Liza P. takes the original story of Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi and mixes it with the French Belle Epoque style for a gothic take on a classic story. In Liza P., the city of Krat has lived harmoniously with puppets that work for humans. Factory workers, taxi drivers, clerks, and even nannies are just a few of the jobs that puppets partake in. But how do these puppets obey the humans? There's a substance called ergo. And ergo is essentially life essence, or a power conduit. It holds energy and every puppet runs off of this ergo. The city of Krat had unlocked the power of ergo and taken a generational leap in technology by harnessing the ergo itself, creating flying machines, power sources, and using that ergo to control the puppets themselves. And just as they were about to unveil their projects at the World's Fair, all the puppets started to act out. So there's this plague called the petrification disease. For humans, it causes them to turn almost fungal and stone-like, losing their brain functions and almost decaying from the inside out. For puppets, it causes their ergo to become corrupted and makes them violate the one law they have to follow: never harm a human. This causes the city to go into a frenzy, locking it down and forcing all the remaining citizens to stay locked away in their homes. So Geppetto was the inventor of the puppets, and after his wife Camille dies of the petrification disease, all he's left with is his son Carlo. And then shortly after, Carlo also dies of the petrification disease. Geppetto's then broken and vows to bring his son back at all costs. This is where we come in. After losing his son Carlo, he creates you, P, to fill the void that Carlo's death left in him. Being awoken as Geppetto's puppet, throughout the entire game, Geppetto tells you how special of a boy you are, and telling you how important you are to a greater cause. We see so many instances of humanity in Liza P. So many characters that go through grief and want to turn back the clock or change the way things were, and they end up losing themselves and who they are as people. Arlecchino discovers that the ergo inside of the puppets is actually the essence of a human, and that only a handful of puppets have awakened so far. One of these puppets is Pulcinella. He states that he had been awakened when his master Lorenzini was a child, and he had to watch Lorenzini's parents get brutally murdered. He states that the killer was a puppet, and had he or Lorenzino told the authorities, then Lorenzini would be left alone and orphaned. So instead he kept his mouth shut and had to watch all of the trauma Lorenzini went through without telling anyone he was actually awakened. Antonia is the owner of the Krat Hotel, your home base for most of the game. Early on in the game, she starts to suffer from the petrification disease herself. Her right-hand man and front desk concierge Polendina takes note of this and asks you to find a cure for the disease. Whether you do or don't decide to use the cure on Antonia is completely up to you, but either way, she will still die. Polendina is so heartbroken about this. He decides to remove the one part of himself that makes him feel, and he turns himself back into a heartless puppet servant. He couldn't cope with the loss of a loved one, so he decided it was better to become nothing at all. Simon Manus has the ability to read minds. During his childhood, this proved incredibly difficult, as one time he read his father's mind and learned how much his father believed he was a failure. Living in a world where he would constantly be told one thing by somebody only to hear another thing in their head drove him into agonizing insanity. He wanted to prove to his father that he wasn't a failure, and to do that he was going to crank it to 11 by reaching God status. Simon Manus later became the leader of the alchemists and created the mantra of wake up, evolve, ascend. Manus constantly pushed the narrative that they would become something greater. He believed that humans were not done evolving and that he was the catalyst in making that happen. Simon Manus saw the petrification disease as a way for humans to evolve. He realized that since the puppets were actually human all along, then being a puppet was a way for humans to become immortal and more adaptable. It was a fear of weakness. He turned himself into an unrecognizable monster hell-bent on becoming the poster child for evolution itself. What good is being a god if everyone fears you? Finally, I want to talk about Sophia. She's basically royalty in Krat, as her parents were leaders of the alchemists. Sophia has a unique ability to manipulate time through ergo, and you can see how this might be appealing to someone like Simon Manus. Throughout the game, Sophia speaks with you and is your contact to level up using that ergo. Asking for your help, she requests that you save her, and upon doing so, you realize that Sophia's been a projection this whole time, and the real Sophia is in the ergo realm. Yeah, she's been helping you save Krat, but it wasn't out of love for Krat. It was so that you would be strong enough and would finally be able to come and kill her so that Simon Manus isn't able to use her abilities. But she requests that you take her essence with you so that you and her will still remain connected. And this is signified by P's hair turning gray. You could argue that Sophia acted out of safety for Krat, but in asking you to maintain her essence, is that not a selfish request? Yeah, Liza P is about puppets, but this game teaches you more about humanity than most other games could dream of. It shows you the lying, the pain, deception, and loss that everyone endures in their own stories. There's so many other characters in this game, and I want to do a video about the weapon mechanics, but for now, if you have any other stories from Liza P that you like, let me know in the comments. But if there was something we could all take away from Liza P, it would be to remember that you're human, and so's everyone else. Everyone can make mistakes, or become something that they're not, but as long as you learn from those mistakes, and don't become a bloated tick of a god, then it's not an irredeemable quality. It just makes you human.